WNBA players are sending messages to Caitlin Clark. But before we get off into today's show, if you come across this video, do me a favor. Please like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you got your post notifications on so you know every time Simply Ball drops another hot banger. And if this is your first time on YouTube and you're now just coming across my channel, do me a favor. Hit the subscribe button, post your comments, share the video out. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up. I see everybody in the comment section, #salute. And you know what my mantra is. Tell a friend to tell a friend. It might not be for you, but it might be for them. Well, Caitlin Clark against the Chicago Skies has suffered another brutal beating. Teams are playing her physical. But before we get off into today's podcast is sponsored by SeatGeek.
SeatGeek, the official sponsor of Simply Ball Dropping Podcast, the #1 rated ticketing app. Over 20 million downloads, 70,000 plus events from concerts to sports. All your tickets across the web, all in one place, rated 1 to 10. Green means good, red means bad, and all backed by your buyer's guarantee. And remember, use my promo code SimplyBallDropping at checkout to get $20 off your purchase.
And just remember, by using my promo code SimplyBallDropping at checkout, you're getting $20 off your purchase. Also know you're supporting the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. Well, let's get right off into it. Today's highly anticipated matchup between the Chicago Sky and the Indiana Fever did not go disappointed. And the two rookies was on display, Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. Also, Camila Cardoso made her WNBA debut. She played exceptionally well. Now, the Indiana Fever squeaked out a win, 71-70, and temperatures flared up again. Now, these WNBA players are taking these shots at Caitlin Clark. They're playing her physical. Now, you know what happened against the Seattle Storm when Victoria Vivens and Caitlin Clark had to be separated for jawing back and forth. But now there's video evidence on what took place and why Caitlin Clark responded the way she did after she hit that three. It looks like Victoria Vivens took a cheap shot at Caitlin Clark and Caitlin Clark responded. Well, today's game, it wasn't no different. They're playing Caitlin Clark physical, but what happened in the third quarter, you know, it was something that everybody said, why did Chennedy Carter take a cheap shot at Caitlin Clark? Well, there's video evidence what led up to the cheap shot of Chennedy Carter taking on Caitlin Clark. Let me show you the evidence that went on when that play took place. Let's take a look at this video clip.
Video evidence shows why Chennedy Carter shoved Caitlin Clark. Let's take a look. There is a play that happened before that, and look what Caitlin Clark does to Chennedy Carter. She inadvertently elbows Chennedy Carter, knocks her down, then she taunts her. That's why the shove occurred.
Now you see in that little video clip what happened prior to the shove. Caitlin Clark inadvertently throws an elbow at Chennedy Clark's face, knocks her down. When she gets up, Caitlin Clark gets in her face and she taunts her. So what happens? Like I always say in football, they always get the second person that retaliates, and that's what happened. Chennedy Clark hit a jumper at the end of the third quarter, ran up on Caitlin Clark, shoved her to the ground, and it was just a hard foul, which was a flagrant, penalty one shot, and the Indiana Fever got the ball back. But that's what happened. But in that game, now after the game, Chennedy Carter refused to answer questions after the cheap shot to Caitlin Clark and the Sky's loss to the Fever. Late in the third quarter, the Indiana Fever's 71-70 win over the Chicago Sky on Saturday afternoon. Chennedy Carter knocked down a smooth mid-range jumper, and a few seconds later, she put her shoulder into Caitlin Clark and sent the #1 overall pick tumbling to the ground. The two guards had been enjoying a competitive back and forth for a few possessions early in the frame, but there was no apparent reason for Carter to escalate the situation to such extent. The referees briefly reviewed the incident, but did not upgrade it to a flagrant or a technical. They did, however, deem it away from the play foul because it happened before the ball was inbounded. After the game, Carter refused to answer questions about what happened. So in that game, both rookies, Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, had pretty good games. Angel Reese had 8 points, 13 rebounds. And also, Caitlin Clark, she ended up with 11 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists. But the main thing is the Indiana Fever got the victory. So let's listen to the post-game press conference of what Caitlin Clark, Christy Sides, and Chennedy Carter had to say. Let's take a listen.
On the play before bumping in with Caitlin, it seemed like she turned to you a little bit after the Fever
I
score.
didn't answer no Caitlin Clark questions.
Did she say anything to you?
I don't know what she said.
What'd you say to her?
I didn't say anything.
That's enough.
I'm trying not to get fined.
This is Christy Sides talking.
We're just going to keep sending these possessions to the league and these plays, and hopefully they'll start, taking a better look at some of the things that we see happening or we think is happening. Just more happy that Caitlin handled it the way she did. She, it's tough, to keep getting hammered the way she does and to not get rewarded with free throws or, just a foul call. Like she's continuing to fight through that. And that's what, appreciate that from her. Really, really proud of her for doing that.
Third quarter where Carter kind of decked you. Mm-hmm. How do you respond to that and stay within yourself when maybe you weren't expecting that?
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it, but I think it's just just respond, come down, let your play do the talking. It is what it is. It's a physical game. Go make the free throw and then execute on offense. And I feel like that's kind of what we did, but, it is what it is.
Now, you heard what all three of them had to say in the post-game press conference. Now, Chennedy Carter, she refused to answer questions about Caitlin Clark. Christy Sides said they're going to start and keep sending these tapes to the league office. And Caitlin Clark said, it is what it is. It's a physical game. You got to play through it, and you got to execute. Now, my takes on that is we got to stop thinking that Caitlin Clark is an angel out there. Caitlin Clark is a straight-out dog. She got dog in her. Now, she's out there barking through the course of the game because of the physicality. Now, don't make it seem that these people are just taking cheap shots at Caitlin Clark for no reason. Something has to be done before these cheap shots occur. It's always a reaction to an action. So Caitlin Clark, through the course of the game, is jawing with these people and showing her antics as well, but she's doing it within, the comforts of the game, and it's not being magnified. Now, there's cameras all over the place, all over the court, and when footage comes out, they break it down, then you know the reason. And that's why I posted that clip, because what Caitlin Clark did previously to Chennedy Carter, that's why Chennedy Carter reacted the way she did, because she took exception to the elbow that Caitlin Clark inadvertently threw to her face, knocked her down, and then when she got up, she got in her face and started taunting her, going back on the defensive side of the ball. So that's why when Chennedy Carter hit that jumper, she took a little cheap shot at Caitlin Clark. And like I say in football, they always get the second person that reacts. Now, also in that game, Angel Reese took a little bump to Caitlin Clark, but I thought on that play, Caitlin Clark tried to sell it. She did a little flopping. So we're going to let that go. That's just competitive, trying to box somebody out. And I think that Caitlin Clark, she kind of, flopped on that play. Now, the previous game against the Seattle Storm, when she got into it with Victoria Vivens after she hit the three, the reason why Caitlin Clark reacted and got up into her face is because of the cheap shot that Victoria Vivens gave to Caitlin Clark. So these girls are reacting off of reactions off to the actions of other players. So don't get it misconstrued that Caitlin Clark is innocent in all this, because she's not. She got straight up dog in her. She is a competitor. She's out there jawling as well. She's out there talking smack as well. And these WNBA players are sending her a message. You're going to come in talking smack, we're going to lay the wood on you. So you guys let me know what y'all think down in the comment section about today's altercation between Chennedy Carter and Caitlin Clark. Please post your comments down below. And this is going to wrap up another episode of the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. I'm your host and the man behind the mic, K-Sap. We're going to catch you on the next one. Deuces. And remember, before you leave out the door, make sure you give the video a thumbs up.
Thanks for listening to the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share on all major platforms.